Welcome to our web exclusive. I'm Shannon Heggie, joined by General Reginald Centracchio. Thank you so much for being with us. Just this week, we've seen two military helicopter crashes, one in England, the other off the coast of Virginia just today, both deadly, and both happened during training missions. Is this something that causes alarm within the military, or is this common?
It's not so much common as it is a consequence of training. You know, through the years, we've seen, unfortunately, accidents like this during training exercises. Helicopters are obviously the focus today, but you see the same thing on tanks and other armament that unfortunately brings with it the possibility of harm and unfortunately, from time to time, casualties. So it's part of training. An unfortunate part, and the military does as much as it can to mitigate that from time to time. But when we see it so close to each other, and then obviously you focus in on that, it's not certainly something that is accepted by the military, but unfortunately it's part of the training exercises that we go through to prepare them to go into actual combat.
But because it's been in the media so much, do you expect any kind of call for the military to make these training exercises safer, or do you really think that they're doing everything they possibly can to make sure that these training missions are doing what they need to do and that they're not a huge risk?
I think when you see the results of the investigation that takes place on each and every time there's a full investigation that takes place, you'll find it either to be a manual error or something that went wrong with the equipment. In each of those cases, they take action to make sure it doesn't happen again. Except when it does happen, that's why it's called an accident, and that's why it's called an unfortunate situation. But where they can, in fact, mitigate it, they do. So I'm confident that the military has the best handle that it can to prevent this from happening.
Okay, it's not due out until later this month, but we're already hearing about former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates' memoir and how it criticizes both President Obama and Vice President Biden on their foreign policy decisions. This can't be good for the White House with all the publicity it's getting.
It isn't, but I think if you look at our history, you'll find that in most cases, the President of the United States and his cabinet from time to time will have a divisive attitude or a difference of opinion. What we see as the general public is what the media portrays, and that's as a seamless moving toward a particular mission or a particular point of view. But what we don't see, obviously, when books like this are written, that much takes place behind the scenes, and eventually there is some disagreement, but usually that disagreement takes place and they come to a conclusion. They move forward with a somewhat of a unanimous point of view, which is good for the country. But that doesn't preclude any cabinet member or anyone else in the administration from having a different point of view, and they do share that, and that's healthy.
And we should mention, too, this isn't the first time we've heard criticism on the part of Gates in reference to the president, and from Leon Panetta as well.
That's correct. And once again, you know, this is a democracy. Within a democracy, you certainly have points of view, and within the administration, you have different points of view, and that's good. When it comes to the conclusion that your point of view is different from the president's, you usually say, yes, sir, and you move on. When it's something of significance that will cause human lives, then that's a different story. And usually you don't find out about these kinds of decisions and how we came about it until after the fact or in the individual's out of office. I do want to make one point, though. In his book, he talked about giving credit to Obama for making a decision to going into and capturing and obviously taking out the main terrorist for the world, and that was Osama. So I guess when you have some good stuff, you have some bad stuff to offset it too.
All right, General Centracchio, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for joining us as well.